Hello, welcome to the stream, and today we're
What's
going to be
going
talking
on?
about the Alistair Pinsof interview from TechCrafter and the implications thereof. Um, Alistair Pinsof was a former writer for Destructoid. He had published a number of articles for them, and he basically got dragged into Gamergate because the, the blacklisting scandal came out after the Game Journal Pro's email leaks. Um, he also has a lot of industry knowledge, and he decided to speak up about some of the corruption that's going on about the indie gaming scene. Basically, just couldn't take it anymore and decided that now is the time to actually talk about some of these things. In my opinion, the best of the three parts was this part two, in which he goes over the IGF indicate corruption and the involvement of Phil Fish in those instances. These are backed up by the uh, Polytron data leak from Solution 6 and also the Indefensible videos on YouTube. Um, Before we go into detail, I'd just like to get everyone's general thoughts about the three interviews, or rather, it's one interview divided in three parts.
I'll be
Cool. Of
honest,
course,
I really haven't looked into this one yet.
I think as you said, the biggest thing is gonna be the Fez and Indicate and IGF thing. That is probably the biggest thing about it. Even reading the third interview right now, which I am still reading right now. I'm almost at the bottom. Of course, the third one is largely just about Gamergate, and we've kind of seen Pensoff say things here and there about Gamergate, more or less. If you want to link it to that, there's some things that he said that obviously he was alluding to GG, but like he seems to, of course, reading the interview, which I'm sure everybody else is doing, he seems to be like basically on the fence
Mm-hmm.
and saying things like, "Oh, what was it here? I want to get exactly what he said here." Yeah, saying Gamergate lacks value, standards, and direction. I mean, that's not really true there.
No, I don't agree with his opinions on Gamergate's assessment of it about how we lack certain values and stuff like that. I will say that there is a certain degree of hypocrisy that we do not address that as a general consensus, not individuals or especially I don't think that of myself, but as a whole, no, that we don't value ethics, we don't value any kind of principles. I don't agree with that at all. In fact, there's many things that he said in these interviews when it comes to his opinion I don't agree with. Um, One thing, for instance, that I don't agree with, like the second part of the third article that came out today. Honestly, I think he's too hard on himself when it comes to his involvement with the Chloe. It was Chloe Segal. What's her name?
Ooh.
Yes, it was. It was Chloe Segal who ran a scam, a fraudulent scam, and he reported on it, and he blames himself for outing her. When in truth, the reason why she was outed was because that was the whole premise of the scam. I mean, I, I don't know the full details of the story, but from what I gather, she was basically saying that she needed she needed life altering surgery, and she was lying about that. She needed SRS surgery, and essentially she was scamming her constituents. And the thing about that is, after Indiegogo found out about the scam, they took the page down and they didn't report the matter to the people who actually were fooled by it. So when Alistair broke that story, it created this huge shitstorm over um, the issue. And it was important for him to break out because you can't just rip people off like that. I don't care who or what you are or what the needs are. If you're ripping people off, you're ripping people off. And if you make your identity part of the story and your identity gets out in such a way, then you only have yourself to blame. So I don't get why he blames himself. I can't. Maybe I'll. Maybe someone should. I really can't. Well, I can't really ask that because he's not here. But that part, yeah. But he is correct in one regard, in that saying that that story is over and done with. The real story that we should be asking is why Destructoid pressured him to making that story and then subsequently fired him for it. That to me is disgusting. Even more so than any other thing that's even more so than a lot of other things that have happened in the corruption circles and scenes.
Yeah, which is another
Hmm.
reason why that statement that Gamergate lacks value, standards, and direction is incorrect, because this interview is so huge because this is like the core of what Gamergate is.
Hmm. Also, we've also learned from something from the first interview that the reason why Dale North was over the Game Journal Pro's email leaks, because of the because Dale North being the former editor of Destructoid, given that he basically participated in blacklisting and he couldn't really stay as an editor chief for long. So it just goes to show that what we're it just goes to show that we're not just a bunch of conspiratorial morons to the public, because
We need to
there.
have facts behind it.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of jumping the gun on a lot of things, but the facts of the matter are that the Game Journal Pro's emails was did happen. Like, this collusion is real, and Alistair's just verifying based on his own account what we already know for the most part. Now, any claims that are outside of stuff that we've already factually had, we have to do some digging into. We have to research them, and we have to make sure that they're verified. If we go about spouting out unverified claims as gospel, then that would be wrong of us. You have to remain skeptical throughout this.
Yeah, I seen Roguestar and Camera Lady talking like earlier, uh, mentioning like, oh, we were right the whole time, and everyone was saying that we were wrong. I'm like, well, I don't remember anybody saying that you were wrong. It was just that at its current stage, there was a lot of things that were purely speculatory, and therefore we can't really like go hard in it as you want us to do.
Hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Speaking of Roguestar, he did say he would be come on the stream at some point soon. So
Oh,
All right,
yeah, um,
that'll be fun.
yeah. The reason why, and I'm hoping he will come in here because we can talk more about the IGF and Indicate scandals, which he did a lot of research investigating, particularly early on, and he was also responsible for spreading like the Polytron data everywhere. And I have a copy of it. Like, I know several other people have a copy of it. The audience here, can download it at like solution6.org. And yeah.
All right.
the candor now.
Oh,
So yeah,
yeah, well, I just came back. What was it? You wanted me to chime in?
Go ahead. What are your thoughts
Okay.
on the issue?
I mean, I haven't read everything, but from so far, what I've read, it doesn't really surprise me, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty much confirming everything I've actually thought about it. I mean, the first part, he says that indie games and journalism are have grown up together, and my goddamn god dog. And when they became friends and are close, it's pretty much obvious that they kind of grow too closer to each other. I have some notes. Yeah, also where he told the YouTuber about this, but backed out, and the YouTuber got into the Games Journal Pros list. That's kind of odd, to be honest. I don't know if you remember that. Anyone? It's
Which
it's
YouTuber are you talking about?
it's on the first part on the Pinsof interview. He told I can.
Oh,
One
Super
sec.
Bunny Hop.
Yeah, and he's now in the Games Journal's pros group, so that's kind of odd, to be honest. But he doesn't have any bad feelings. I also think that he kind of screws Gamergate, to be honest. But I mean, isn't this what we've thought the whole time, to be honest?
Pretty much. A lot of what he's saying here is basically confirming. He's giving another account of what has happened, and what a lot of stuff is just backing up what we already know. I don't really see any new claims made here. A lot of this is old news just being re-brought to light. That's the most I see. That's the biggest news I see from this. Um,
I mean, he mentions IGF, and he doesn't mention any names, but IGF and journalist being too close. So
Yes, it is. And what the benefit of this interview is that basically we can reshift the focus on what really matters for for Gamergate, which is the journalists,
Yeah.
the websites that are in cahoots, the people who have been colluding, those who are actually helping to create this industry of cronyism and cliques and special favors, and not really basing things on merit. That's the real problem that we're really facing throughout this entire thing. That's the biggest problem. There's the, like with the IGF, like I said, I believe it's the IGF, the Indiecade, and the Phil Fish story that really is what should be really looked into. I do think that TechRaptor kind of failed to ask for comment from certain people, as someone else pointed out on Twitter. For instance, if since Alistair was making comments about Mr. Fish, accusations against him that he didn't work on certain aspects of the game, then TechRaptor's responsibility should have been to contact Phil Fish, request for comment, and offer him a chance to defend himself. Now, to Georgina's credit, I did see that she did, after the interview was up, request for comment on it. So maybe there will be more to that. At the same time, though, I kind of believe I'm inclined to believe Pinsof's word on this one, because Phil Fish does not strike me as a very good developer. He made one game that was his one claim to fame, and he's most famous for being a drama queen on Twitter.
Yeah,
And
and what he did with Fez, the money for Fez 2, how he said, "I'll take it and run," like that.
Yeah, I mean, like
Proves that it
like,
almost proves this story to be true just by his actions about him raising money for Fez 2 and then not making the game and holding the temper tantrum. It just
yeah, like it makes sense as to why there was never going to be a Fest 2 in the first place, because like those who were really instrumental in that game even existing weren't around anymore.
mhm.
So yeah, there was no Fest 2 coming in the first place.
I have to
It's
admit this. I did try out Fez a while ago. Wasn't that good of a game in my opinion, but that's just my opinion. Other people have different ones about Fez, but it wasn't really that good of a game.
I've heard
So
nothing but good things about it.
I tried it. It's not my cup of tea. I'm putting it like that.
Yeah.
It's not my cup of tea. I know other people will like it, but it's just
Well,
a frustrating platformer in my opinion.
there is a reason why you see Fez free more times than not, though.
Because of him.
Yep.
Yep.
And also, he was the Polytron team was pretty much the biggest winners from the IGF corruption, because it is true that Brandon Boye is a kingmaker. He's basically been going about using his position as being the guy responsible for handling indie stuff, and using that as a way to determine who wins and loses in these competitions. And what happens is it's usually a guaranteed success, because the benefit and boon of award shows is that once you win, you will get a lot of attention straight away. People just go over to you and just upvote your game, see where they can get it, make all these downloads, and it really does financially affect the indie scene developers. This creates a situation where the game becomes rigged to certain parties, and that's the real problem with the award show corruption, because of the financial effects it has. And that's why I believe the second part of the interview was the biggest one, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and plus, of course, none of this is like new information, and that's why, like you say, Camera Lady and Rogue Stars, is talking about, oh, we were right all along and stuff. Yes, that's fine, and we're not saying that you were wrong. It's just now it's so big. Not because it's new information or that these are new revelations. It's that it's more or less been confirmed by someone who is on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's why this, the second part in particular, the second interview, is so huge because it is like everything that we've been talking about is right there from someone who has been in the thick of it the whole time.
Exactly. And I do believe what's more important than the interview itself is where we go forward and what we do with the information. Like other people have been saying, we should be spraying this like wildfire. Talk about it on forums, talk about it on the Twitter, talk about it on 8chan, spread it far and wide, make sure everyone's aware of it, and get people talking about it so that way people can actually look into the investigate the IGF, the IGDF, the Indiecade Festival, and the game, and the websites themselves were part of the Game Journal's Pro List. I mean, the fact that they collude like this and they work together is actual it's a potential breach in antitrust laws, and that is a big factor in all this. And that's something that has been largely overlooked by a lot of people, especially major news outlets and websites. You'd think that they jump on the story as soon as the Game Journal Pro List was leaked. That's what they should have done. And if we can make them the story,
that's why Sarkeesian opened her mouth, because I think she knew about this was going to happen, so she decided to open her mouth. Call me conspiracy theorist all you want, but this sort of thing is the reason why Sarkeesian, Wu, Harper, all of them started running their mouths. Quinn, they all started running their mouths because they knew this was going to get out, and if the big media's got their attention on this, they would have all trust against them, public opinion would be against them, so why not say the people that are trying to show this corruption are misogynists, is how they're trying to do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think they knew about this. They had to have known about this because it just came out, just their attacks. When the corruption thing started coming around, just the attacks, the misogyny attacks started happening. Why would Sarkeesian defend these people? I don't get, but I think it's just because she's a part of their group.
Wasn't it out that some game developers worked at companies where they were basically forced to donate money to Sarkeesian's Patreon account?
Who?
I don't remember. In fact, I want to say that it was supposed to be an anonymous dev, actually.
Oh, Norwegian guys here. Welcome. Now we left.
Oh.
Oh well. Norwegian Gamer, if you want to rejoin, just reuse the link. You'll hop right back in. By the way, this is an open house, so if anyone else has anything to weigh in or say about the issues, about the interview, or comment about it, or about the IGF corruption, feel free to join.
Great to be back on, Norwegian guy.
Yep.
There's also, he talks about Brandon Boyer, who runs.
Sorry to interrupt you. Sorry to interrupt. Just wanted to check if my mic was working.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Just Brandon Boyer, he mentions in part 2, where he runs multiple award shows and runs games that promotes indies. He's friends with everyone, and he's in the Games Journal's Pro List, so that's not a big surprise to be honest.
Oh yeah, Pinsof mentioned this in the article, right? It's the YouTuber that he gave such high praise for, right?
No, it's someone else. But it doesn't surprise me that it's not just on the journalism side; it's also on the other side as well.
It had to happen because the YouTubers are, a lot of these commentators are not easily ignored anymore. I mean, the gaming press are starting to take them seriously, and they're trying to bring them into their fold, I guess. I mean, that's my view of it.
I mean, he both runs the site and runs committees, and that's a bit shady, to be honest.
Yeah, it is, but I'm not really surprised about any of this.
Yeah, I'm not either, but just shows you he can promote the games he wants to and give awards to the games he wants to. basically making an echo chamber with games he likes alone.
Yeah.
It's like whoever pays the most gets their game showed type of attitude, type of corruption that we see in like Hollywood and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I mean, that's unless you know them personally.
hmm Or if you have the money, you get the game featured. That's how business works in the corrupt journalism industry. You have the
It,
money, you get the how do I put this? You get the press.
it's crazy that we're talking about indie games here. That's the really crazy thing. I remember when we had this issue with AAA titles. I mean, now indie games. This is such a weird situation.
Yeah, actually, this is related to a conversation I was got into with someone on Twitter about 30 minutes or so ago. Like basically, games is really young, but it has grown up incredibly fast, and because it's grown up so fast, we've never had any like checks and balances in place for things like this to not happen. I mean, if you look at the film industry was around for a very long time before you had a lot of journalists and critics because they didn't really know enough about films at the time. There was not enough films at the time to really make any real judgments as to the quality of film. Not to mention there wasn't as many films coming out in the first place because it wasn't like it was easy to make a film. You can't just go and just grab a camera and just get a camera and a computer and just start making stuff. I mean, that's how it is for games now. If you got a computer and the internet, like whatever, you can have a netbook and start making games right now. You could probably make
hmm
games just off of your phone if you really tried at it. I would actually like to see that.
Yeah,
But
but yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and the interesting part of this, all of this, is that the movie industry has had over a century to grow on, and and the game industry also faces problems, not when it comes to just critique, but how to evolve the medium in a way. Because I agree, gaming should always evolve. You should always evolve the medium, but what what the critics of Gamergate are saying, and what people like Anita Sarkeesian are saying, we want to evolve game, which basically means we want to control the narrative in games,
yeah,
and
like
that
the
ha-
way that they
The
want
movie
to evolve it.
industry has already went through that problem. The movie industry itself has went through that problem, and they solved those crazy and handled those crazies in the end. But
it took a
yeah,
while.
it's just
Yeah,
it
and
took them a
so
while. It was a long, hard fought war, and a lot of TV shows and movies were axed because of these politically correct people in like the 1960s, 50s, 60s, and 70s, and even partly the 80s did
yeah,
not
but
like the
the
movies, and
problem
they
with those, at least back then, they had people who were fighting for those, you say, those social justice politics.
Quentin Quentin Tarantino
Very,
comes to mind.
what's
yeah.
the word I'm looking for? They were doing it sincerely, right? Like they were sincerely going for
If
like
only we
political
had the
correctness and
people,
gender
if
politics.
only the media fought for us like they fought for the interview, Sarkeesian would be chased out of the industry if they fought with us like they fought with the interview.
You know
Well,
what
like,
what
but
game
movies is along with what they're already about, right? Like TV is dying, and that's why like there is so many people, myself included, who say, all you people in GamerGate who are trying to push for these PR tactics, going for all these PR hoping and wishing, it's not going to happen, right? But you don't even need it because mainstream media is dying. Right,
Yeah,
trust in news media is at an all-time low. Ratings for news media is at an all-time low. It doesn't matter. You want to
yeah,
go for the people that are online. Go for your YouTubers. Go for your sensible article publishers and whatnot, because those are the people that who is your audience and who are like you are getting their information from. Hardly anybody's watching TV anymore. There are more and more people cutting their cable and just getting Netflix and watching movies and TV shows on their computer. They're
Yeah.
watching
Yeah, I mean,
YouTube.
yeah, but speak.
The hell?
Lion, your mic is off the fritz again.
Yeah,
Okay.
You know, I, I just wanted to make a quick point. I mean,
Go ahead.
you say the media, the mass media has, of course, lost a lot of views lately, and you have people like Jon Stewart and John Oliver. You know, when people go to them for the actual news, that's like that really says something about the state of the news agencies, especially in the U.S.
Agreed.
That's all I have to say.
actually,
Yeah.
I'm seeing here Delta in the chat. He actually has a pretty good point here. He says, I think indie gaming needed large networking and a lot of self promotion in order to survive and rise. But at what point do you get too big and need to start self regurgitating?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I
You get
think
too
that
big for your own
basically,
good.
as Alistair himself says in an interview, cronyism is a major problem within the indie gaming scene, and that is it's because they don't like Delta said in the chat. It's like how do you like not understand that like basic form when you're just engaging with like business relationships and like the levels at which you're supposed to have distance from the subject and like the person you're reporting on. I mean, when it comes to like and how is it so that a lot of these indie judges don't understand that you're not supposed to give out awards to your friends and family? I mean, that's just basic rules 101. I don't think all of them are wholly innocent. Some of them definitely have their hands dirty and knowably so. But others are just naive, very naive.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one indie game that I mean, this indie game has ironically not gotten a lot of attention from, like panels and judges and so on, and that's a damn shame because it's probably a very good indie game. It even has a female protagonist, which is hilarious. That is the game Dreamfall Chapters. That is an indie title founded by Kickstarter, and it hasn't gotten any particular awards or any big mentions of the indie community. I mean, I'm really like, okay, are those guys who in Red Thread Games, are they not friends of you, or don't you give two fucks about them because they're not willing to follow your narrative? I mean, there's something strange there.
yeah.
The Dreamfall
When I
chapters
learn
has
about
a
indie games, when I look up and I learn about indie games, it's either I'll watch some YouTuber, hence being some of the big ones. I'm not going to go into names who they are. I know a lot of people hate them, but I will look at some of the big YouTubers to see, okay, what indie games are they playing because they never get featured and stuff. That's how I learned about The Forest. That's how I learned about Rust and just recently, there was this game not too long ago I just got was called Game Dev Tycoon, which is, if you guys have never played it, I suggest you guys get it. It's a really
Yeah,
awesome game.
I heard that if you
It's
pirate
an
the game, you can't make money in the end because
yeah.
they've made it so that that's quite ironic because you lose money because everyone's pirating your game in the game.
I've
Yes.
seen
There's
Overlord
a
Gaming
feature in the
stream
game
that.
where
It's a pretty
someone
fun
pirates the
game.
game and you have a chance to either have them sued and have them try it, like courted and stuff, or give them warning and tell them to take it off. And if you sue them and stuff, you lose fans. So yeah, but give them warning, you get more respect from people. So it actually manages to struggle with development and stuff. It's pretty good actually. I
Yeah.
suggest people that haven't bought it yet or never played it to give it a try. It's a more, I mean, a few YouTubers have tried it, myself included, but there are others that never. But the game doesn't get that much attention other than just a couple of us, and it's a pretty good game. So yeah, there are hidden gems like that nobody ever talks about, and I never get why. But I guess it's politics and stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
And it's also Sturgeon's law. Like 90%.
yeah, I just read something regarding this that Pinsof mentions is that Tiff Chow was had a boyfriend who made a game, and he knew Brandon Boyer, and Pinsof asked, it was a fantastic arcade, who would win, and she said, my boyfriend will, because she knows Brandon. And next day, what a surprise, her boyfriend wins. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah, I don't. That is just there is no coincidence with that account. I mean, it's pretty evident that Brandon Boyer does not care for ethical judging practices at all. He just basically picks who he likes, and that person wins the game. I mean, it was like how the creators of Super Meat Boy were at one indie festival were told, "Hey, you guys made the best game, but we're going to give it a Phil Fish." That's
Yeah, that is messed up.
Yeah. Why is Fez better than Super Meat Boy? Super Meat Boy was one of my favorite side scrollers of the last 10 years.
Yeah,
I think
way more
Fez
people play Super Meat Boy than Fez.
Well, it's
Fez
just
is the
because Phil Fish is just a creepy man-child, in my opinion.
I think Fez is the only game that I actually fell asleep while playing. I don't know how that's even possible.
It sucks. I gave it a try because I didn't want to judge the game prematurely. I'm like, okay, maybe I'll give this game a try because never judge a book by its creator.
boring.
I know it is. It was so frustrating me trying to play it and stuff. I'm like, I'd rather have a little meat guy just get torn to shreds by a chainsaw
Super Meat Boy is awesome. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd rather watch instead of an ugly looking cat, I'd rather watch an adorable meat boy just get torn to shreds when you.
And the storyline is so
Yeah,
simplistic, it is amazing. like the way they present the story is just so funny. That's what else it's got going for it. Like it's not trying to take itself seriously.
Oh, by the way, did anybody see Brianna Wu calling Dying Light the game sexist?
I honestly do not care about.
Oh, Sarkeesian called it.
That was Anita. Not
Phil Fish. John Bain, aka Total Biscuit, went after him and went after her, saying, "I don't see how there's damsels in distress." And also, female dev, a part of the game, defended it against Sarkeesian. So yeah.
I am done talking about Wu completely and entirely, and I don't see any other way to. Essentially, Brianna Wu's a vulture who basically got involved with Gamergate just to give herself attention. And by us talking about her, about how terrible and corrupt she is, which she is, don't get me wrong, all we're doing is letting her win. And that's not what I want to talk about.
Okay, fair enough.
Good. The rule: don't talk about Brianna Wu.
Yeah.
No, don't say her name. If you say her name, you give her credence.
Okay, let me put it like this. Don't talk about the crazy woman. Just don't talk about that crazy woman with black hair and
let's do a Harry Potter
husband.
Let's do a Harry Potter. She who should not be named.
Yes!
We tried that before. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
No, it doesn't. Like, before there was this mantra that, Zoe Quinn's not relevant anymore. She's literally who? Now
they dragged her into it again.
Well, the thing is, Zoe Quinn, however, not to make a lecture on history lesson we already all know, but Zoe Quinn is guilty of a lot of shady dealings and a lot of cronyistic deals that she herself got involved with when she went with her through her stream of connections to get herself some positive press coverage. So that's one reason I don't agree with calling her literally who. Another reason why I don't agree with calling her literally who is because it doesn't work, because we all know who you're talking about when you say this person who shall not be named. It just, the only way to deal with it is just to get people talking about, the only way to get people to stop talking about irrelevant people is to get them to talk about something else. I mean...
Yeah. That's what the WWE did with CM Punk. So yeah, the only thing they said, he shall not be named, and the fans kept chanting his name every time his wife went out to wrestle. So yeah, his wife AJ Lee comes out to wrestle, and everybody starts chanting his name, even though they said we should not talk about him like that. And then Vince had to finally come out and explain the story of what happened. So, and then the fans finally shut up. So you have to. You can't say, "Oh, we shall never name," because people start chanting their name.
it's like having a history teacher teach a class about World War II and referring to Hitler as he who should not be named, while everybody else knows who the hell you're talking about.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
best way to basically what you have to do is get people talking about the people who actually matter. Talk about Brandon Boye. Talk about talk about Maya Kramer. Talk about
Yeah.
talk about Ben Kuchera, Leigh Alexander,
Ugh.
Stephen Dittil.
I
These people who are implicated in these
get
scandals.
nightmares. That woman's a reoccurring nightmare. That woman's a
Which one?
reoccurring fixture. Leigh Alexander. She's a
Uh-huh.
reoccurring fixture in my nightmares. So.
By the way, did
please
anybody
don't.
see? Did anybody see the panel that Leigh Alexander had in Iceland or Finland? I think it was Finland. Anyways, she spoke English, and she's American as far as I understand it, and she had this really fake British accent. It was like, I'm from London. No, you are not.
I can
She's
just imagine her trying
everything
to
that
do
was
that,
ugly
too.
in the 1980s, in my opinion. Do you see her hair? That is like the 80s most ugliest hairstyle, and that's where she's from, in my opinion. She's everything the 80s was.
Yeah.
Including.
I'm sorry. The whole British accent thing really took away everything that I could ever hope to hear from that particular panel, because it was like I wasn't even listening. I was just focusing on her accent. It sounds so fake. It sounds so fake. And I replayed it to a friend of mine who actually is from London, and he said like, no, she is not. She sounds like an American trying to pretend to be from London.
No, Leigh Alexander is from London. That is true.
She is?
Yep, I believe so, unless I'm mistaken. I mean,
Yeah, I don't hear that.
I've never heard of her being from London. I don't know where she's from. For all I know, she could have crawled out from the ground and rose up to.
Yeah, that's plausible.
Yeah, for all I know, she could have just.
She's from Massachusetts.
Oh.
really?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah.
I looked her up. Massachusetts doesn't say where in Massachusetts, and I don't
Probably
think
Boston.
anybody in Massachusetts will want to share that information with the public. She lives in London though, so that is. But I don't think she lived there long enough to change accents.
No, you would have to, like for me, for my Montanan accent, I was born in California, but I get this accent, the accent where you're living, it develops over years. Your accent that you have, it has to develop over years. So,
I mean, I went to a class with 9 American students. That kind of explains my accent, even though I never ever been to the States. So yeah.
I'm just quickly. I'm looking over a section of the second part, and if I'm not mistaken, Phil Fish friend made Indie Game the movie, and they actually never. I haven't seen Indie Game the movie, but did they only show Fish's side of the story?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think so.
So basically, they should make him look like a victim and tell us that his life was hell, but they don't give the other guy's story.
Well, as far as I understand, after watching that, I recently watched that, and I watched it again actually because I wanted to. I was a little unclear about some details, but he had a business partner when it came to Fez, but he apparently had a falling out with that guy, and he never mentioned him by name. He just said that he had a business partner that screwed him, and he was all alone to work with this game. He was the victim and everything else, but they never talked about the other guy. They never mentioned his name. Either the other guy could have basically told the producers of the movie that he wanted to be left out of the movie by name, and that is a possibility. So, but yeah, I mean, it was basically
looking what Pinsof says. He the friend of Phil Fish basically made the movie, which is fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, what I like to know is where did if Pinsof's claims about Fish are true, I like to hear from the people Fish allegedly ripped off, because that would be very interesting to hear from. Like
Yeah,
I
I
said
agree with that.
yeah, like I said earlier, the people that were mentioned in this, they should have been requested for contact, because in the article I don't see request for contact was made but denied or ignored. Um, that is something that, as a journalist, is very important to make sure when you're doing a story like
They
this. You
they,
have
they
to
might
get
be
the other side.
The problem with the story, in my opinion, is why haven't they went after Fish during when Fish
Never
released
mind.
the
I was
game?
wrong. I was
Hmm?
wrong. I was wrong about the whole. I was wrong about the whole guy not wanting to be in the movie. In fact, he was never asked to be in the movie to tell his side of the story. And at the film's credits, it said he asked not to participate in the film. It was untrue.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was a
It's
big deal. Like that
it's
was a big
it's
deal
it's
after the movie came out.
it's all lies and bullshit. So it's basically Phil Fish spinning a victim narrative that really isn't the case, and and the movie producers did not give the other guy a chance to tell his story.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I was wrong on that point.
Yeah,
damn.
Phil Fish seems to be nothing but a recipe for drama. I mean, which is really surprising that at the very beginning of this, he decided just to go dark and set his account to private and just not comment anything. Probably because someone told him, "Hey, things are getting really messed up. You better just keep your mouth shut on this." Because I mean, like between the Polytron corruption, the Indie Festival corruption, the Game Journal Pros corruption, that really seem to just back this guy and don't really give him the scrutiny he deserves. It's all a mess, and it just seems to be all part of the same problem. I'm just hoping that a lot of these other people start having to go dark. We did
Um,
see like Leigh Alexander for a while was basically very very quiet on her vacation.
wasn't there a leak from the Game Journal pros about them talking about possibly burning Phil Fish if he didn't like stop?
Um, I'd have to look that up. That'd probably be either on Breitbart or One Anger Game. Sorry, William Usher's website, One Anger Gamer.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find that.
I'm reading through it, and Pinsof also says that Fish was friends with Boyer, and he called him a social butterfly and knew a lot of gaming press. So that's why and he had high-level connections, and that's why he managed to easily get his game on that platform. It seems like.
It's crazy reading through this. I mean, what Alistair essentially implies here is that the two other developers, one of them was Phil Fish's friend, who was not who was the guy who did not get to tell the side of his story. It essentially says that him and another guy are probably afraid to step out and say what is wrong now, and Phil Fish's connections with the Game Journal's pros and a lot of the IDF people could actually make them to be ostracized from the rest of the gaming indie dev scene if they try to speak out about what actually happened. So yeah, this is disturbing to say the least.
I mean, this paragraph pretty much sums it up. I feel like this story embodies the indie game development scene as a whole. You have guys like D. Groot and McGrath who are non-confrontational, good people who just want to make great game. Then you have these megalomaniacs who use their influence to cheat their way into awards, take ideas, and more from other developers, and depend on media, investor, and judge connections to keep the corruption away from the public's eye. There's pretty well summed up from Pinsof, to be honest.
Yeah.
McGrath and D. Groot, by the way, are the two other developers who Phil Fish stole from, it seems.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
when I first read about all of this stuff, when the story first came out, I'm reading over this and I'm just thinking to myself, like out loud, how could they think that they could do this? Right? All of this stuff is literally textbook collusion. all of the like some of this stuff is money laundering if you really want to look at it that way. Being on a panel for a game, for judging for a competition in which a game that you are an investor for is on it, you can't have money in basically your own game that you're going to be judging. Of course, you're going to be biased with that, right? But like that could be seen as a form of money laundering. There, it's like how deep will this actually go? Like, why are you taking this money and basically funneling it into this project? And then, of course, later on, this project is given away for free more times than it's actually being sold. What's going on here?
Uh, eh, the rabbit hole just keeps getting deeper, and I I'm not I'm just glad we have people like Total Biscuit out there trying to cut through the bullshit, because I think he realizes what goes on, and yeah.
Yeah, actually, the fact it's interesting you bring up Total Biscuit because he was brought up in the chat here, and they were talking about YouTubers and some YouTubers being corrupt and doing the same things that the journalists are doing. Um, and it's basically brought up with like different stuff like bribes and promotional material and friendships and insider info and stuff like that. And that reminds me of when what is his name? Is it James from Extra Credits was going on a tirade trying to call out Total Biscuit about oh, you do the same corruption that you're calling out on these journalists. And these are things that TV himself has already talked about and addressed. I mean, he already talked about being bribed and denying it. But not only that, talked about how he felt that he was possibly unfair to the game because he was bribed, and that left a bad taste in his mouth.
Yeah, I mean, he has connections with Blizzard. I know that. I mean, when he basically talked about the FPS that Blizzard is coming out with, he basically said it before he started talking about this game. Full disclosure, I know some of these developers, and full disclosure, and he was very open about that before he started the actual video. He was like very open, and I always seen him as the kind of guy that if he has connections, he's not afraid to disclose it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's done it quite a few times actually. Like, I have no. I mean, he says some people when they would like look at products and stuff, they wouldn't like. They didn't pay me to do this product, or some people would say they paid me to review this product. I've seen that happen several times on YouTube. It's done it, but I've seen a lot of it. I've seen a couple YouTubers actually done that. Then there are these bigger ones that would keep their mouth shut about it and won't say a single thing about it.
Yeah.
And just I'm like, okay.
Yeah, that right there is unacceptable. Yeah, especially when things are looked at as being shifted over into YouTubers and
the whole and the whole thing with Machinima just recently, you guys knew that though, with how Microsoft paid Machinima to do their things and stuff.
Yeah,
I knew that was happening for a while now because Machinima has always been in cahoots with Microsoft for quite a while actually. So I think
somebody reported that into the FTC because it was $3,000 or something like that, where they had to use a hashtag, and that's illegal. That was last year, I think, around March or something.
Yeah. All of this stuff going on.
I don't know if it's Boogie
How can someone possibly think you could do
or someone like that revealed it? I remember first hearing about it from Boogie's channel, and he says, "I just have to put this out here." I don't know what network Boogie is under, so
he's under Polaris.
But I just
okay, he is
Polaris. Okay, Okay, but he talked about how Machinima was doing this and showed this list of what they had to do about it, and he was the first one I heard this from.
There was a YouTuber who added me recently, who followed me on Twitter recently. I'm not sure if I should mention her Twitter handle. It's a girl. She's from the UK. Let's leave it at that. I took a look at her channel and it said Machinima, a part of Machinima. So I was like, okay.
Hmm. I hear so many bad things with Machinima. I've seen so many YouTubers make videos about why they left Machinima or why they were offered to join Machinima but they rejected it and all different kind of stuff like that. Like there's just constantly bad information coming out about them. Like how are they still around?
Money, greed,
Well,
money.
it's just that like a lot of the comments that come out about it, like why I left or why I'm not going to join and stuff like that, is
Machinima
like they
has
talk
an
about how they don't
Xbox
pay
app.
their. Say what now?
Machinima actually has an Xbox app. If you ever, I remember back when I had an Xbox 360 before I actually sold it. Machinima had a 360 app on there so that you could
Yeah, it's on
watch
the it's
specially
on
designed videos made for Machinima. And I know she says, "Oh, you should watch my gaming videos on Machinima." Oh,
Yeah.
Roguestar just joined.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Hello,
she
Rockstar. How are
says,
you
"Oh,
doing?
you should." How's it going, Roguestar?
Hey, what's up? What's up? Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry I'm sort of late at the show. I just finally got back to my desktop. But yeah, what's up, dude? Hey.
We're just talking about various things, mainly the Pinsof interview. I invited you on because he basically reaffirmed what we knew from like September and what was also revealed from the Solution 6 big drop back in December about the IGF scandal.
I guess I'm just gonna go in lead way and try to push what I analyze it from the whole thing so far. So Pinsof goes into his part 2 interview. It's mainly related to Phil Fish, and it's material dating back from what I've read. It's material dating back to before Fez was a thing. Like, this was Fez before 2008, and that's when Fez got its first boost on the IGF. It's like, oh, look at this this little quirky mechanic of a platformer where you're a 2D character in a 3D world and you're going around. So I was actually following Phil Fish around that time as a game developer student. And that kind of news is like, yeah, okay, whatever. It's game developer drama. But what was distressing about it is when, from September, which I would like to call Eternal August because it fucking keeps popping up again. It's like, oh my god, that again. They're censoring people again. They censored the shit on NeoGAF again. Or was it Giant Bomb? I can't even tell anymore, man.
Giant bomb.
You talking about this
Yeah, they're
interview?
doing it again
Yeah,
on
this
fucking
was censored
Reddit,
on.
on
Yeah,
our
this.
games. I'm like, what
Yeah,
the
this was.
fuck are you people doing?
Yeah,
This is
this is being
discussion. Let
censored
people
everywhere on
discuss this
Reddit.
shit. But
Yeah.
yeah, Eternal September and August is happening again, and it's just, hey, someone came forward about saying, Phil Fish ripped us off. So I went back to the IGF data and all the Polytron documents. There's no mention of McGrath, this guy who initially coded the game. And I'm kind of surprised at that too, because Fez became a successful indie sort of nomination in 2008 IGF. That's given for the game. It was playable, people liked it, and it got boosted. But there's no mention of this McGrath guy, and I'm like, yeah, that does not make any fucking sense when you enter a project and the original programmer's not part of the crew. It's like, okay,
Yeah,
what the fuck's going on?
I brought this up before you joined the discussion, Roguestar. I brought this up, during Indie Game the movie, which was made about Phil Fish, which was basically a one-sided tale. I mean, long story short, McGrath was apparently it was said that the other guy did not want his name featured in the movie, but the reality is that he was never asked to tell his story to
Yeah,
Indie Game the movie.
Yeah, it was both McGrath and the other
Eagle.
guy,
The
Eagle.
group.
Jason DeGroot. Now, here's the other thing about Jason DeGroot's story that was not mentioned in the Pinsof interview. It was actually Jason DeGroot's family, his own flesh and blood, that actually loaned money to the Fez project. It was literally one of the first investors. Yeah, and it was for about I think it was seed funding for 20 grand. I don't know if it's U.S. dollars or Canadian dollars, but it's a pretty significant amount. And this isn't some bank loan or a car loan or anything. This is coming from one of the guy's family members. So for Phil Fish to toss somebody down under the fucking bus in a fucking movie, knowing that his family members contributed to this fucking project, I was like, how douchey can you get, dude? That's
And
like
and
that's
the
like
produ-
your closest friends giving. I mean, like not even closest friends, their closest friends and their family supporting that project. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's like close kin, man. And then you're just gonna just fucking toss them under a bus in some movie, and I don't know. From what I've seen also in the Polyton documents, uh, Jason DeGroot was part of the profit share, but it wasn't a significant sum. You get what I'm saying?
Mhm.
It was mainly Phil Fish and the IGF sort of collusive relationships in there that got the bulk majority share of the fucking project. And there's also like the programmer, and I don't know, man. It's just Pinsof drops this bomb, and I'm like, oh, look at all this data that was brought out and dug up last September. We finalized everything in December, where we're like, here's what people didn't realize about that, during the earliest times of Gamergate. I got so much flack, myself, Camera Lady, and the three other anonymous people that were digging specifically into IGF stuff. We got so much flack for being called conspiracy theorists, despite the fact that, we've got hard fucking data in front of us. We went through optical character fucking recognition on this goddamn, data dump on Polytron. Believe it or not. Because we know that, okay, Phil Fish is associated with Zoe Quinn is associated with fucking Goons and Goon Swarm and that whole fucking something awful bullshit with Hell Dump. So, at the back of my mind, I'm like, alright, all this data that was dumped on Polytron, all this data with Phil Fish, these loans, it's gotta be a fucking fake in some level. It's gotta be fucking forged on some deep, I don't know, some weird trolling operation. That was going on in the back of my head, and for paranoia's sake, we were like, okay, maybe this is a hoax. Maybe this doesn't make any sense. Maybe it's just one weak way that Phil Fish is fucking trolling us all, right? And now, I gotta say, this is conclusive proof. Pinsof's telling me a story where, they're not sharing with their investors, they're tossing people under the fucking bus, and I've got data to fucking prove it.
Mhm.
So it's like, okay, this is beyond coincidence now. There's a lot of evidence against Polytron Corporation here. Yes, Gamergate definitely is fucking involved because we had to fucking expose this shit. Yes, there is the fucking IGF and all their collusive fucking relationships with these so-called indie devs. To me, they're not even indie anymore. These guys are shadow AAA. They want everything in the power of what AAA studios have, but without the rules and regulations that AAA studios have to go through.
They're
It's
hipster
like,
EA, basically. That's
yeah,
basically
yeah.
what they are.
To quote Marcus Baird, oh, you're indie game developers. Good for you, you fucking hipsters.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate
these are like
hipsters.
corporate hipsters, man. They're cycling around their fucking Patreons, calling each other fucking charities. Oh, donate to my charity. I'll donate to your charity. It's like the money's going all over the place. The IGF and the Indiecade I wouldn't care about them so much if they didn't charge any fucking money to enter those competitions. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
if
that
it's
right
just
there is
one
like
circle
really
jerk of
dirty.
devs and it's free to enter, well, fine, you can get as fucking corrupt as you want. But these competitions charge $100 fucking. I still want my $100 from the IGF back, man. I'm doing this for $100.
Yeah, on top of that, the winner of the IGF, usually that's a big win. That person gets greenlit like that. And
Yeah.
instead, and the problem there is basically whoever controls the IGF is a kingmaker. And that's what Brandon Boye is.
Yeah,
Best way to get greenlit anymore these days is, like I said this in the last live stream that I did. Basically, you create a game, create an open world survival game, add so many glitches on it, put a shark in it, and chances are PewDiePie might play it, and your game will be greenlit almost immediately and sold like crazy. That's how
yeah,
you get greenlit anymore these days.
yeah, and I really don't like the trend where, here's a game, and in order for me to be at least, I don't know, profitable, or I would even say surviving as a game developer, I hate the fact that we have to go to a trend towards king making. It's like they're putting developers on a fucking pedestal. I really hate that trend. It's really about the gamer now. It's really about, YouTubers who are supposed to be the kings and queens. The gamers should be the ones on the pedestal. Gameplay itself should be on that pedestal. Game development, they're trying to turn this into some fucking rock star scene, and that's, relating back to Phil Fish now. He's the total, oh, look at me, I'm a fucking rock star. I'm in a fucking movie. Fuck my goddamn partners.
And
Yeah,
how telling is it that he's a DJ now? Because everybody wants to be the DJ rock star.
yeah, it's like, okay, be a musician, be a performance artist, be an actor, be Adam Baldwin. Shit, there's avenues for that now. But these people, they're
I
trying to
wasn't.
do that for games. And games have a really inverse fucking relationship. It's the gamer who's king, not the game developer. I'm the fucking roadie. I'm the guy who sets up the cables, sets up the mic, cleans up the fucking restrooms, cleans up the goddamn stage. That's me, man. I'm not, or game developers shouldn't be the ones out on fucking stage claiming the space for gamers. It's fucking nonsense. And that's what
There is
these
one
fans want, man. They want game developer rock stars. They keep pushing that idea because they want to have kingmakers and queenmakers, and they want to be able to control and collude inside the fucking market because they say, oh, you're the king now.
I
Or,
mean,
oh,
there
look
is
at
one.
you, you're controversial.
There is there is one exception to that rule, and that is Hideo Kojima. That man is viewed as many as God for some reason.
Yeah, I was gonna say that. It's interesting that you bring that up because I was thinking about this a couple of days ago. I'm always very skeptical of any person who is like right at front stage, front and center all the time. I'm always question their relevance to the game being made, right? Like if you ask people, who made Grim Fandango? Who was the developer for Grim Fandango? They'll say Tim Schafer. No, that is LucasArts, right?
Yeah,
Who?
LucasArts, and I believe the programmer for it is now the chief technology officer for Telltale Games.
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sorry
right.
to say this, but Tim Schafer's a fucking idea guy. I mean, he used to be
yeah, that's how I see him.
fucking charismatic. He used to be a good manager. He used to be just another dude. And after the past 2 years, where he goes on Kickstarter, starts the crowdfunding flood, and then now he fucks it up by, I don't know, $3.3 million, man, and
Yeah.
whatever
Well,
that early
Yeah.
access bogus
Well,
shit is.
Rogue, there's two types of game developers. There's a good game maker and a good developer, because a good developer doesn't always make good decisions when it comes to money, and Tim Schafer has not done anything good with his money.
Yeah,
Again.
I mean, I hate to say this, but the saddest words ever penned was saying, hey, Bobby Kotick is your friend. Bobby Kotick was fucking right. I want to apologize to that dude. I want to work for him now because he knows fucking money. So,
Yeah.
I mean, here's the ironic thing about Bobby Kotick, man. Back when Activision was started in 1983, it was actually Bobby Kotick's group that tried to, salvage what was left in the games industry back when, I don't know, everything was going to shit.
Yeah, the game crash.
Yeah, the game crash, and it was actually Bobby Kotick's group that built Activision when they say, hey, look at these great titles on games, and these people who are in control of what was back then, I think Mattel. I'm not sure which parties Bobby Kotick bought the Activision brand from, but they literally salvaged it. They went through the muck after the crash and said, hey, there's great titles here. We could push towards this industry. I mean, you're not going to agree with everything Bobby Kotick says. He's probably going to fucking hate me if I ever had to deal business with him. But at the same time, we got to stop treating game developers and people who are in charge of this industry as some sort of idealized fucking on a pedestal sort of
Unless you're Gabe Newell.
Say what?
Unless you're Gabe Newell.
In Gabe we trust.
Well, that's
Yes.
sort of a wrong thing too. I mean, if you'll understand Gabe Newell a lot better if you ask him or address him as a businessman. It's like, okay, he's profit driven.
He's a brilliant businessman. He is a brilliant businessman for what? I mean, yes, we still haven't seen Half-Life 3 yet, but still, he probably can't count to 3, but still, he manages Steam really well. So yeah.
Can I just wanted to say something. I brought up Kojima because he basically he has his own studio that bears his name, and
Yeah.
I'm a Metal Gear fan, and I'm probably a little biased, but I have loved almost all of his games, and I'm a little biased, but I even got to play Police Knots when the translation came out for that. So, and I don't know, there's something about his games that I really do enjoy. Do I idolize the man? No, but I respect him, really respect him as a developer and as a producer. And so that's my opinion on Hideo Kojima.
Well, like with Kojima, it's like he's not like, when you say Tim Schafer, he's not like Cliffy B. He's not like lost at another example, but you get the point. Like, he does not come out and constantly be on stage and got to show off and try to make everything about him. It's about the game. It's about what you are going to play.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even during Gamescom last year when they were showing Metal Gear through in Germany, you had Jeff Keighley, of course, wanting to made his interview with him, but he was, he was very humble about the whole thing. He was basically, this is the game. This is what the game is all about. He was like the game all the time. And I think he basically gave the information that people wanted. And
going back to the topic,
Yep.
what really surprises me about the IGF corruption is not just the corruption itself. It's like that in of itself is bad. But what's also bad is how the journalists. It took us, like the gamers, to investigate this stuff and actually go into the details. Like, not saying me specifically, but like Camerley, Roguestar, and the others. They had to do the investigative journalism work to uncover the scandal and report on it. And in response to these revelations, instead of like doing their own research and digging to like verify the claims and make sure everything's on, and see what's going on, they go ahead and they just try to basically go through smear tactics and all this other stuff when they don't have to. They could just report, hey, you know what, Brandon Boyer. Oh wait, that's right, he's part of the GJP. So maybe it shouldn't be that surprising after all.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. Yeah, their house is burning down right now, so of course they're not.
That's what pissed me off about this. That was like the last camel's fucking straw breaking my back, man. When I saw that Game Journal Pros list, I was actually a little bit ambivalent on Gamergate as a whole. But when I saw that, I was like, what the fuck is the IJF chairman doing in some secret mailing list? What the fuck are you writing? what do you do in this list? Yeah, and when I see that, I was like, all right, time to go fucking hardcore digging on this. It's really really disconcerting when the people who are in charge of, despite me hating the IGF now, it is a platform. It's something like Steam Greenlight. It's something like Kickstarter. It's where I can access as an audience, as a game developer, and the people who are in charge of it are colluding with interested parties, their friends, the linchpin of this one is their fucking financial connections. Hello Patreon, Indie Fund, fucking all these business contracts where they all profit from each other's work. It's like you guys are acting like a AAA studio, but at the same time, you're duping 90% of your audience are game developers. Whereas as small as I am, you're charging him a fucking $100 to go into, this audience, and you're profiting off of that, just so you can bump and deal with your friends only. To me, that's not a market, and that's why it should fucking burn down.
I agree. It should either reform or go away. There's just no other way about it. If you can't just rely on contests to just have a bunch of this. The whole problem with GamerGate is the people are going to have this clique mentality, and it all seems to stem from San Francisco. Not sure why that is, but not all.
Yeah. Six cities. There's actually 6 cities to this: San Francisco,
Oakland,
Vancouver, Seattle, Toronto, Montreal, and what's the other 6th one?
Portland.
Portland, yeah. It's 6 cities. It's all the same fucking circles, man. I mean, because it's a clique mentality, because they're all, if you've noticed Gamergate, they're all fucking, oh my god, you guys are so focused on Twitter? It's like, all of a sudden when the Chan boards got exploded on the web, and then bam, everybody started raiding Twitter Chan. And now Twitter Chat is like, we're looking at this giant fucking hug box. It's like, what have you guys been doing for the past 6 years? Just colluding and shouting the same echoes at each other? I was like, wow, I thought Tumblr was fucking bad.
But we have this thing where if the way the IGF works now, I mean, it's going to implode on itself eventually. I mean, it's not a sustainable thing in the long run. It's going to implode. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I think it's going to. We're going to reach a point. I mean, one of the fears that I spoke to an analyst who actually remembers the Atari crash back in the 80s, and he said that looking at how certain developers are trying to because the audience is more the audience that they're trying to reach. They're on social media. They know if you're bullshitting them a lot better, and people have gotten more skeptical towards marketing and so on, and especially after the IGF thing, a lot of skepticism is also being directed towards the indie community. So I personally think it's going to implode, but the horrible thing is that I think gaming will crash along with it.
I will disagree right there, because there's gonna be some good indie devs out there, and there's gonna be some awesome games they make that aren't a part of the ITDF, that are really good games, like how I just told you earlier about Game Dev Tycoon. I think FTL wasn't made by. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think FTL was made by the game dev community or IDF. Faster Than Light.
Faster Than Light was actually part of the IGF circles, but they're not like part of the inner clique.
Okay.
They got really famous on Kickstarter, and for some reason these guys didn't get a nomination. And well, I haven't caught up with it, but I do believe they made it into the finals like a year after. But yeah, the FTL guys are not part of the inner circles of it.
Okay, good. Because they did a really good game, and I would feel really bad that I actually bought that game if they were actually part of the inner circle.
What about Minecraft?
Notch?
Notch is his own circles, man.
Yeah, Notch is his own
Notch
person.
is
Hey,
Notch
did
is
you
his
see
own
the house
planet.
party you recently had with all the celebrities at his giant mansion? Yeah, he's his own person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Notch basically came up
Notch,
with a
you'll
really
just
good
give the
idea at the
giant middle
right time
finger
and the right
to
place.
any of those people.
Yeah. He
Notch
hit,
just doesn't give a shit. He'll give him the giant middle finger saying, look at this. I have a picture with Selena Gomez just at my new house. So, yeah, go screw yourselves.
Yeah.
I mean, he hit the jackpot. He released the game in the perfect
He is
time.
what game devs what indie devs all want to aspire to do is what Phil Fish or not Phil Fish. Notch actually did. Not Phil Fish. I don't know why he was on my mind.
That's
I'm
what indie
really-
games should
I'm
all
really-
aspire to be like
Yeah.
Filmfish.
No, to be like Notch.
Holy shit! David Gallen is actually in the stream, watching the stream right now. He just posted in the chat. I'm not making this up.
Who?
David Gallen,
Who is that?
the guy who posts pictures of his butt online and also recently dug into Total Biscuit. Yeah.
Oh, hello there.
Wow.
Hi, crazy person.
Yeah. Not sure why he's
Yes.
watching. I'm not sure why he's commenting,
Is
but
he like, one of those people that jerk off onto female photos on Twitter? I don't know.
No, he was the one
That
that did
seems
it
to be a
Gamergate
trend
itself.
now where people are masturbating on each other's printed photos and then say, hey, look at this.
Was he the guy?
I don't know. I mean, it's
I don't know
a
who
trend.
the guy was.
No, he was the
That was-
guy
that was-
no, he was the
that
guy
was
that
li-
tweeted out that he was masturbating and then having thought about Gamergate while doing it, and he
Yeah.
have the brain to tweet it out. So yeah.
There was some guy who did that to Liz's photo, if I remember correctly.
Yes,
That
I
was a
remember that, but
third-party
that
troll
account
that
was
did
taken
that.
There's
out.
also David Escalante who keeps talking about masturbating to a hashtag.
Yeah.
yeah.
That's him.
Well, good
that's
luck
him.
with that,
That's
friend.
him in the comment section.
Whatever you do in your private time is your
hi,
own business. Just
Broham
don't share with me.
McVaseline, as Jacob Doc calls him. But yeah.
According to him, apparently we don't know how the industry works. As if he
Well,
knows how the industry works.
okay, some guy who made a really
MS
terrible
Paint game.
MS Paint game who doesn't even know how to handle JPEGs and PNGs. I'm like, all right, dude.
He made an MS Paint game that has exactly one way to win the game.
Yeah, I'm like, okay.
There's one path to win the game. If you branch off
By not
that
playing
tree
it?
by one, no, like if you no, there's only one path to win the game. If you branch off from that path even once, you lose the game every single time.
Also, I'd like to address something that he actually said in the chat. He said, "You guys keep talking about IGF circles, yeesh." Well, actually, we proved that there's IGF circles going on around here. We did the research. We brought this to life.
All that data is fairly compiled on one of my blog posts. I pin it all the time on Twitter. It's all over people's links. It's the same people who are investing on each other's projects, the same people who are in control of the IGF nominations pool or judging pool, or have been a part of the Indiecade or IGF nominations and jury and judge committee, and it's all the same people, and we have financial documents backing it up. The precedent is Phil Fish, and now Phil Fish is being exposed in the fucking media. It's like, oh, it doesn't exist. Well, you gotta read about it first if you say it doesn't fucking exist.
Hey,
Somebody's
Roguestar.
got chips in the background.
Roguestar, you just said a terrifying line.
What?
The president Phil Fish. That
No,
line scared the
the
heck.
precedent. The precedent is Phil Fish.
Okay,
Now,
I was
all of
starting
this
to.
is a fulcrum on him. How many other incidents are there? Because it happens with one, and it happens with the IGF and the Indiecade. They've got hands in pockets
Yeah.
and monies all over the place, and we've got data on this shit.
Yeah,
It's like, it doesn't exist. Well, it's right here. It's like, refute what we have on deck. And they're calling me, Camera Lady, Nero, William Usher, and now, Alistair Pinsof, a bunch of conspiracy theorists. It's like, well, there's a lot of data already, dude. This isn't fucking, goddamn jet fuel melting steel beams kind of stuff. There's financial documents and people saying shit that conclude the same fucking pattern and same fucking history. It's money talks, man, and the money has fucking spoken hard and loud on this issue.
You know what?
So
Invite that guy on the chat. Invite David onto the stream.
Well, it is an open house. If he wants to come in, I will gladly drop him the link, and he could bring up some of his points, I guess. I don't really know. From the little I've read of David Gaunt, he does not have a lot of good things to say, like intellectually speaking.
Makes for great entertainment.
Well, I
Yeah,
think
it
he's
is
actually
hilarious.
extremely depressed as an individual, and from what I've observed on Twitter, the guy's fucking suicidal, man. It's like, dude, you tweet a lot of fucking depressing shit. You attack and smear other people that you have no interaction with them whatsoever, and then you're talking about masturbating to fucking Gamergate. I mean, come on, man. There's something depressive about your life. I've seen suicidal behavior before. I dealt with that in the fucking Marine Corps, and from my experience, David Escalante is fucking suicidal. He needs to get off social media, seek fucking help immediately, David.
Yeah, if it's someone like that does strike me as someone who does have something not doesn't strike me as someone who's all right upstairs. Same thing with like a lot of these Twitterers that just keep on tweeting about Gamergate as their personal trolling ground. I mean, it's like your Sarah Butts, your Man Blacks, etc. They're just at this point I can either just laugh or pity them.
They're like
Well,
the,
you look at their
they're like
tweet
the Tea Party
frequency,
experts.
man. It's fucking
Well, it's not
insane. I mean, I thought I chat a lot on Twitter, but these guys, it's like you guys are more into Gamergate than I am. I mean, I got my own corner right here. In between compile cycles and optimization cycles, I'm gonna go shitpost with the fucking A-Team or whoever the fucking cool group is on Twitter right now. But it's like these guys, these Men in Blacks and fucking Stephen at War or whoever. It's like you can see the whole spectrum of trolls here. You've got the unpaid, worthless bum trolls like Nicholas Nyberg, and then you've got the professional, well-endowed trolls like Chris Clueless. It's like it's a behavior that stretches economic boundaries. So it's not surprising to say that this trolling behavior, this harassment, this toxic element on the web. I would say I would just hold a mirror to all these people. I would hold a mirror to fucking Ian Miles, Nazi Chong, and Chris Warcraft and say, here, you want to see the toxic element, the harassment, the misogyny? Right fucking here, dude.
I'm convinced that they don't recognize mirrors. I still think and say a lot that they think that mirrors are nothing more than windows with bad people on the other side of it. But no, if a mirror is sitting in the middle of a room, it can't possibly be a window.
Yeah. Oh, David Escalante. You hated the IGF before even Gamergate started. No, I just wanted a refund back, David Escalante. Here's something unsustainable. Taking 3 years to finish a game, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, my game's out, and it's pretty much on Kickstarter, and it's on Greenlight, and I've got hundreds of testers. It's actually a homebrew game, David. It wasn't a full-time job. The IGF circles, Jesus Christ, you folks, absolutely nothing about the industry works. Yeah, David, being an expert blogger on Gamasutra qualifies for industry work. Investigative journalism equals using illegally obtained financial data doesn't actually prove anything. No, it wasn't illegally obtained. I didn't hack Polytron. It does prove something that people like Keely Santiago and Jonathan Blow, who are part of the IGF inner circles, having financial connections to an IGF project that wins twice, by the way, twice. If in 2008, being an IGF winner was already fucking dosh, man. you don't need anything else. But they won again in 2012. That's fucking. That should set off alarm bells. That should be fucking ethics in games fucking development right there, man. But still, David Escalante, I've answered your desperate little tweets, and or was this in the chat? I
The
can't see
whole
the
we
chat
don't
right
know
now.
anything about the industry because of the IGF circles was in the chat. I don't think he tweeted that.
Yeah,
Oh no no.
he actually popped his head in the chat and left some comments there. I don't know if he's still watching. Maybe he just, like a coward, decided to just drop some comments and
Let's
just
see
Yeah,
the
he
chat,
probably
maybe.
left.
Someone called you out, Rogue, saying you're being funded to sit on Twitter all day harassing and swatting people.
Yeah, I could see a lot of fucking money coming my way, dude.
Yeah, a lot of these people don't understand what harassment actually is. Like, in order for it to actually be harassment, it has to pose a credible, threat to your own life. It can't just be someone calls you a shitlord on Twitter or
Yeah.
some shit.
Yeah,
something
you
like that.
want to know harassment? Ever since I started Gamergate, and was, all of a sudden visible, not just known as that shit poster rogue star who worked with Camera Lady on the IRC channels, and then all of a sudden ZQ fucking leaked the logs, oh my god, the Gamergate cabals,
We
which
released part
fucking
of the
traced to me.
logs, remember? She didn't
Yeah,
release the whole logs, only like
yeah.
cherry picked
Images
lies.
were
Ever
searched.
since that incident, I've had people trying to steal my project's source code. Yeah, I used to be on GitHub as a private project, and also I had a small BitTorrent sync network going between me and my teammates. People have tried to break into that. People have harassed my teammates by going trying to fucking crack their email. Like literally, they were doing that for a whole fucking month. I couldn't communicate with my artist through emails that way. I had to call them for the fucking phone. People want to know about harassment. I don't fucking broadcast it.
Weren't
I know
you
it's
weren't
fucking
you
wrong.
weren't you banned from Twitter a lot of times as well?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry that happened to you.
What's the record? What's the current standing?
12-0.
Yeah.
Goddamn.
Okay.
I mean, seriously, Roguestar, you must really be starting to get on some people's nerves. They keep trying to get rid of you, but you just bounce right back.
Yep. I mean, even Twitter got tired of it. We're like, you know what? You gotta have your one account, dude. When they suspended the original Roguestar games, they were like, all right, you're cross-posting on FleetCom and this. I'm like, no, I own both. You're allowed to have two accounts. Then there's like, no, we got to suspend this one. I was like, bullshit. Fine, whatever. I'll be on this one. I don't care. But I was never suspended for fucking harassment whatsoever. I got the first Twitter suspension I got was posting Polytron data, but I was like, what? You call that bank data? Sure, whatever, fine. Twitter was actually talking to me about that, say, hey, you just got to delete it. I was like, cool. And they said, no big deal, just delete it. And after that, it was just fucking spam report after spam report. And even accounts that didn't deal with fucking Gamergate, like one of my accounts where I fucking post lewds and shit, that got suspended. I was like, what? What the fuck is
Didn't
going
they
on here?
suspend your actual FleetCom account too? Didn't they?
Yeah, they that's why I had to protect it because I don't really care for Twitter itself as an environment, but at the same time I don't want somebody registering FleetCom on there and taking my fucking trademark. You get what I'm saying? So that's the only reason I didn't want people ganking that FleetCom account. But other than that, man, it was like people trying to suspend people, and it's not just me. They've been doing this to fucking Lizzie. They've been doing this to Ted Kincannon and a whole bunch of people who are dealing with social justice warriors on Twitter way before fucking Gamergate, man. Way before this. So
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, I mean,
the hypocrisy
one
of
thing-
the social authoritarians. For me, but not for
one
the.
thing one thing that Gamergate has done, in all of this, ever since August, and the whole thing just blew up and everybody started talking about it. It's the one thing that I think the social justice warriors didn't count on was that how people would be banding together against them in a way. And there are reports that there is a lot of support for Gamergate inside AAA development studios, but they're afraid to talk.
Mm-hmm.
Well, consider the factors that, one, these people who are in the AAA world and the corporate world and the social media world, they're bound by NDAs. They work for corporate entities. Public relations and media focus on them is very strict rules. Once you start talking about it, you're fired. Doesn't matter which side you're on. You're done. So if you see a lot of prominent game AAA people or previously AAA people talking shit about Gamergate, most likely they are unimportant. Why? Because they're not bound by NDA. They're not bound by certain rules that reflect on their corporation and their ability to work together as a team. So when I see somebody like, I don't know, former quote-unquote creative director of some fucking Ubisoft project saying, Gamergate is insignificant, you're not even 1%. Yeah, 300K is pretty fucking significant. And him just talking shit, and the last thing I see from him was work credited 6 or 7 years ago. It's a lot of fucking insignificant people trying to fucking slam themselves into a fucking controversy.
Well, Ubisoft was pretty good at that before Gamergate to get themselves into controversy. So
yeah. But I mean, look at these people. Chris Warcraft. Yeah, he's got like what, 200,000 followers who fucking follow him for the lulz. When I see him on Twitch's fucking stream, he barely got any fucking attention from that. It's like, okay, you're trying to inject yourself into this Lineham guy, then Josh Whedon and Anita Sarkeesian. It's
Josh
just a fucking pattern, man.
I don't know why Joss Whedon is opening his mouth. He has a job working on movies for Marvel, so I wouldn't even. If I was Joss Whedon, I would stick out of this fight because I don't want to get fired from those jobs. If like Disney wanted to, they would fire him from working on the Avengers movies or working on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wouldn't want to be Joss Whedon's.
It's really power play. Because Josh Whedon said, the only reason he's saying this and he's going on this feminist rant all the time, it's him basically saying, haha, I can say whatever the fuck I want to say, you can't do shit about it. I'm free from the fucking consequences. Look at me, I'm so successful. I mean, okay.
Well, Rogue, he's not directing the next two Avengers movies, so it might have something to do with the shit he's saying.
But Disney's not going to get rid of him, though.
Because I was looking forward to Avengers 2. I'm not going to spend any money on that. But knowing that he's not going to be involved with 3 and 4, that puts high hopes for me for the Marvel movies. Because without that hiccup, I think they've been doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Guardians of the Galaxy was a pretty good one.
So
was Captain America 2.
Still have to see it, and that's getting a bit off topic.
I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah, another reason why I drew on Rogue was recently you wrote a Tumblr blog about something that's showing a better way or showing a call for reform in the indie scene. Can you divulge a little more into that?
Well, it's this. You can't have a better indie scene unless people address the problems in the fucking indie scene. The first step towards fucking recovery is addressing the fucking problem. And that problem right now is collusion. It's financial, professional, and friendly collusion. It's all exposed on that fucking blog post. It's nothing, I would say, groundbreaking. It's just a summary. It's like, here's everything Anonymous has found on the IGF and on Polytron's fucking data. We have a precedent here. We have data. We have hard evidence. And we have two conclusions. One, this is a massive fucking hoax. Highly unlikely now. Highly unlikely. Or two, this shit fucking exists. But right now, I mean, the people who are trying to address that, Alistair Pinsof. You know, he just toss more ammo into the fucking fire. Bam, it's right here. And what are they doing? It's fucking August and September again, guys. You know,
Hmm.
yeah, it's Reddit. Who else? Giant Bomb, was it? Giant
Yeah.
Bomb. Yeah. Before we can actually move on to say, hey, how do we fix the indie scene? How do we do a call for reformation? We have to fucking face these problems. And
Yeah.
right now, I cannot call myself an indie developer. I cannot call myself an independent developer because of this. Because I don't want to be smeared by this fucking scene. You know, I'm a rogue dev. There, bam. I'll go by the fucking cliche. You know, it's like I'm not with the industry. I am not with these fucking things. You know, if David Escalante and Click say you don't know how the industry works, I was like, well, this is what it seems to work like. I don't want to be part of that. I want to be part of fucking free market here, man. I don't want to be part of collusion. I don't want to be part of the people who think they know how it works. Well, how does it work, David Escalante? You know, does it involve me tossing, business partners and creatives under the fucking bus? Does it involve me going on a fucking movie and slandering people's names? You know, does it involve a fucking, fixed and rigged award ceremony that's been criticized both by its, previous judges and now by everybody who's in Gamergate? You know, if that's how this industry works, it should fucking burn to the ground before we can even start talking about saying, hey, let's have an indie scene. Because if this is the indie scene, it should fucking disappear. It should fucking, we can't talk about the future of the indie scene, man. We've got this whole sludge of shit right in the fucking room. You know, there's no room for a fucking future if we have this. So, that's basically, the start to the call for a reformation. You know, a lot of people are saying, oh, we should set up our own festivals. We should, make our own sites. I mean, yeah, that's good, but consider the majority of where independent game developers go. You know, they go to the IGF, they go to the Indiecade, they go to these fucking rigged shows. And year after year, people are going to be submitting to it and submitting to it and feeding that fucking machine so that, Brandon Boyer and their fucking clique gets ahead while everybody's paying $100. So, that's how this industry works. Fuck this industry. It's got to burn down first before we can move on.
Yeah, and I think the best way to start enacting change would be to spread all the information on the IGF, the Pinsof interview, the Polytron doc. Spread it everywhere. IGN has a tip line, for instance. News and stories. You can actually send them links and stuff and information that they think is newsworthy, and they may do something with that. Send it to the Escapists. They seem to be pretty alright, or they have problems still. Like they have what's his name on there, but they seem to be doing things. Tech Raptor's got some issues, but they are doing their best. They are trying their best, which is more than I can say for a lot of these other companies. And of course, we have a lot of new media websites coming out, like Highland Arrow is one website. Another website. There's a whole bunch of them, but we need to spread this to as many news outlets as possible, because this is a big story and it warrants further investigation, like Roguestar said, because it can't just be Phil Fish. There are other people involved, and I think the Indefensible videos.
There are people involved right now. I'll give you a hint, guys. Framed. This game called Framed.
Yeah, we know.
Oh God, yeah. Let's see. Connected to Zoe Quinn. Check. Funded by the Indie Fund in 2013. Check. Finalist on the IGF. I'm like, wait, what? You're connected to the Indie Fund.
Is that game that Zoe was bragging about? Kojima was saying that it was the best game of the year to him.
Yeah, whatever. I don't.
Rogue, I have a message from you from David Gallant.
This is funny. Yeah.
Slade, you wouldn't know what to do with me even if I even had a chance to respond to you.
Wait, what? What?
Right, you're gonna hop in the effing stream full of gators.
Yeah. Oh
I
my.
don't use the F word, so you're gonna hop in it on an effing stream
You
full of
wouldn't
gators.
know how to respond to you. Here's how I would respond. David, get off Twitter. You've got like 800 followers and over 200,000 some odd tweets over the past 6 years, and you've been
Oh.
shitposting your way, literally and figuratively, and talking about master fucking Bashan. So I would address you right now, David. Get some help.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound like sound advice.
But I just wanted to get back on the IGF thing. I mean, they are, yeah, from masturbation to IGF, yeah. We can talk about both. I'm sure they're related somehow. Anyways, yeah, but the first thing you see when you Google IGF now is gonna be these conspiracy stories about him, and people are catching on. I do think that a lot of people are catching on to what the IGF really is, and yeah, there's so much resentment towards the IGF for exactly the same reasons that Roguestar mentioned, and yeah, they're gonna crash and burn. It's gonna happen.
Well,
Give
the people who power the IGF are small game developers who flock to it. They give $90 a year. And this is just not the IGF. It's also IndieCade. It's $90 a year. They go here and a chance to get judged. And right now there's a lot of developers. They're not like me who aren't scared to show up and fucking 8chan or I used to go on 4chan too and say, hey, can you take a look at my build and talk to fucking random shit posters. Most of these developers, they stick into their little box and then oh, it's time to promote. We're done with the game. Time to promote. And they're not really aware of what's going on. They're not aware that a small section of their peers are connected to the people who are handling these institutions. And they are institutions, by the way. There are platforms that are meant to broadcast a message and say, hey, this is the cream of the crop of independent game development. And it's controlled by a very few amount of people. And people like David Escalante can say, oh, you don't know how this industry works. Well, how does this industry work, David?
Yes,
You
Mr.
and your
Yes, Mr.
you and your
Gallant,
MS
please.
Paint game and disrespecting a whole bunch of your Desura and Steam users. How does it work, David? Make a blog post about that on your fucking expert blogger Gamasutra, David S. Galan. Show us your financials. Show us your developer blog and videos of how you make your little shitty MS Paint engine. Show us how it works, David, from your
Yeah,
perspective, before you come at us and talk to us about saying you don't know how this works.
I mean,
Exactly.
he's too cowardly. He's too cowardly to even come into the fucking
Yeah,
stream. I mean,
he uses a
I'm
block
very-
bot. Come on, like he can't even block anybody individually. You got to use a fucking block bot so that he can't hear anything from anybody that has anything worthwhile to say to him.
Was that Harper's block bot?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
oh god, I actually,
One crazy person
It gets
using another
worse,
crazy
actually.
person's
Quite
bot.
recently, I saw he says account is private. I don't know if that's still the case, but evidently he really can't take the heat.
No, of course. And he said, yeah, like you said, he used a block bot, and then when people were still getting around that because, oh, big fucking surprise, all you have to do is make another account and not follow anybody that's on that dumbass block list in the first place, he went and made all of his tweets private. He got tired of people going on his account using private browsing so that they can see the dumb shit that he was saying and publicizing it anyway.
Or you don't even have to actually have Twitter, even Twitter anyway. You use a browser you don't have. Like I use Firefox and Google Chrome. I don't use Internet Explorer, so I'll just flip Internet Explorer on, go to the link of where their Twitter account is and just look at their tweets, and it'll show
Yeah.
them. You
Like
don't
there's
need
a
to have
thousand
anything.
ways you can do that. You can do it with private browsing, like you said. You can use it with a browser that you don't normally use. You can use a VPN or a proxy. You can fucking use any of the numerous amounts of like Twitter archive sites that are out there. Like there's a million ways you can look at somebody's account, even though they have you blocked. It's stupid.
Anyway, guys, I appreciate the time here. But yeah,
Mhm.
if people want to find the data on the IGF, people know me on Twitter. Just go on Twitter. Heck, go to the guys who manage the 8chan board. They actually have been hosting the core evidence to that, and I can't thank them enough.
Hmm.
Uh, but but yeah, the 8chan Gamergate board, they manage the Solution 6 server. I've got the write up and the summary on my blog about the IGF and the collusion stuff. But yeah, people just need to keep digging. I mean,
Yeah.
this is what I love about Gamergate. This is what I want from Gamergate. People exposing stuff, talking about it, debating it. I don't want a HUD. I've never wanted a hug box
No.
from Gamergate. I've wanted disagreement. I've wanted skepticism, and that's what's happening with this. Outside Gamergate, people shut it down. Outside in there, they're gonna say, "Oh my God, Tech Raptor is not a credible news source. We're gonna moderate it out of our fucking columns." They're taking it out of Reddit too. It's like September and August again, and that is what Gamergate is fighting. So
Hmm.
people should just ignore, all this drama, ignore all the bullshit about doxing or whatever and harassment. Start digging into this. And once in a fine while, if you want to go shit on David S. Gallant and Man in Black and Sarah Butts, go post their pictures back at them. Whenever they talk to you, just get their picture, post it on Twitter, and say, "Hey, David," show their faces to them. Show it in the mirror because
Yeah.
these people, these trolls and harassers, they're fucking embarrassed of themselves.
Hmm.
That's why they're not. So
Mhm.
anyway, thanks for the time, guys. I'll see you around.
Thanks for coming on.
Being here,
Thanks,
Rogue.
man.
Have a good one, Rogue.
See ya.
All right.
Also, make sure you take the faces and make dank memes with them.
Well,
What?
all right. So I think we covered the IGF stuff. That the IGF stuff, which is I think the most important thing to have come out of the Pinsof interview for me personally, because it's the biggest issue there. But there was some other stuff information and stuff that came out. Do we want to talk about that as well?
Yeah.
What are you referring to?
Well, there was well, actually, we pretty much covered everything, I believe. There was the Dale North being fired as a result of like the Game Journal Pros leaks. There was the Chloe Segal incident that we went over, and there was also what else was there? There was also something else that I forget. Tidell, did you want to give your thoughts on the Pinsof interview?
I read that, and it doesn't really surprise me at all that Bill Fish is a fucking liar and a thief. It just, I actually gonna commend him on quitting the whole gaming scenes and the indie scenes and going dark right before Gamergate blows up, because if your side have Phil Fish as one of the rallying champion and one of the people that you're supposed to be born against, chances are you probably not a good side to begin with.
Oh
Well, good
God,
luck.
the
Yeah,
guy.
good luck on his. Sorry.
I just remembered when Jeff Keighley's Game Awards show happened, there was a guy wearing a Phil Fish shirt. Yes,
Well,
yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
well, for all the shit that he got, good luck on his DJ career, I guess. Hopefully Hopefully he won't steal any track from any other people.
All right. And if there's all right, I think since we already covered everything and the information's out there, we discussed what the state of things are, what we're doing, what the implications of the Pinsof is, how to go about using the information given, etc. I think we can close the stream unless anyone has any final thoughts or closing comments.
I just wanted to say, I mean, if there's anything we haven't touched, I'm gonna have a stream tomorrow, so you can join, John. So if there's anything in particular we have forgotten about now, or anything that's happened now, so yeah.
I'm sure more stuff will pop up until tomorrow. It always does.
Well, I would like to talk a bit about some depth stuff that because since it's February already and some of the people have been promising shit that end up in the hot air, but I guess that's more suitable for tomorrow's stream, not this stream. So yeah.
Yep.
All right, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, thanks for everyone. Thanks for the panel for coming on board. Thanks for everyone tuning in and watch. Special thanks to David S. Gallant, who actually volunteered into the stream.
Thank you for being a part of the comments. You were really entertaining.
Yes, you were. You made the stream.
You were more entertaining to me than basically Sarah Butts going on a rant.
Can I say?
Believe it or not, Sarah Butts actually did come in the stream before, so I got 2 aggros visiting my channel now, which is good news for me.
Hooray!
Maybe one of these days we'll get one of them in here.
Can I just say on behalf of Andrea, I'm sorry if I'm speaking on your behalf, but I would like to invite David Gallant on tomorrow's stream.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, if he wants to come on, I mean, he's welcome. I've invited like 10 aggros, but none of them have had the balls to come on, except for Cross, and we pretty much dismantled that guy on the 2 streams that him on. So.
Yeah. Mind if I be back on the stream tomorrow?
What is it?
Andrew Doll is streaming tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not John.
Yeah. So yeah, I have nothing more to say.
Yeah, I'll probably be on tomorrow as well. So thanks for letting me. Thanks, John, for letting me into the stream, and I'll probably talk to you guys in the morning tomorrow.
All right.
Okay.
All right. I will put all of your Twitter handles in the description below after the stream's over. You can follow me personally at jkellytwit. Have a great day, everybody, and sign off.
Sign
Thank you.